Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of Project Architect 2. Today, I have a different setup here. So this is actually the fissile fuel setup from last episode, just kind of made in modules in a sense. I made it a little bit better so we didn't just have to make a whole bunch of these upstairs. We're actually underground right now, by the way. The reactors are here, and the fissile fuel production is over in a chunk independent of itself. So that way we are cruising. So all of this stuff is stuff you guys have seen. I've just added more to it. Fissile fuel, of course, is the end product here. You've got all of the different pieces needed here. I've made sure to make it as, decent as possible, as compact as possible. I'm hoping this will be enough. Of course, right now we only have the 8 million buffer in here and 2 million buffer in here, so we have about 10 million buffer of fissile fuel. And you can see that this guy actually has water in it. The reason that is because I was actually testing around a couple things, and I don't know if this is the best method to do this, so we're actually going to go test this on camera here. So each one of these guys has all of the fissile fuel that it needs. I've just put a port down. This is actually the port whenever you place it down originally. So let's actually just go place this guy here. So I'm going to do 9 of these, just like I did in the other one. Okay. And you can see that these guys are this kind of like greenish, light green. If you right click with the configurator, you can change this. So input only is what it's at by default. Output waste, output coolant. We want to input only. One of the things that I want to look at is integrated fluid. Nope, not what I meant to do. Because I thought there was a way to export fluids from the network. I wanted to try and see if we could maybe have like a faster method of transporting fluids, and I don't remember if there is a way to do this. So let's just kind of look around a little bit and see what we can find. So fluid. So fluid world importer, exporter. We don't want to place fluids into the world. We want to import fluids into... I thought this was export fluids from the network. So I was thinking this and the fluid importer and a logic cable. Let's see. Import the given fluid. Import all fluids. Import fluids. Let's grab some variable cards. So that doesn't work like I was hoping. So do I need a fluid interface? Will that maybe fix something? Well, that is definitely doing stuff. I wouldn't say this is faster than that. I don't think. But we could just grab another sink here. Mechanical pipe. Yeah, so this definitely isn't as fast as I was hoping. Okay, well, that's one thing that we've tried. I guess realistically, so I guess the other thing that I want to test is if we grabbed 9 sinks and we were to do something silly like this and cut all of these guys off of each other. Just like so. One more. And we were to do this. This is just a silly idea. I don't think this is going to produce that much result. I want the shrinking gadget. Should be in here. Am I just not seeing it? No, it's not in here. It's in my inventory. That's why. Okay. So let's try this. We're just going to set everything to full. And push. Okay, that's about the same speed as normal. All right, I will watch. I guess I'll just let this guy fill up. I don't know of any other way to make this go faster. Not really, which is not a fun thing because I'm hoping this will be enough to actually maintain it, but we may need to add more ports and stuff. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to actually take these guys out, and I am going to reconnect at least some of these. Which means I'm just going to actually wrench these guys off and then replace them, so that way I don't have to just reset the configuration. And I'll just have to reset the configuration on the bottom. Okay. You can see maybe the other thing was faster. And it's not significantly faster, that's for sure, but I've got one more idea. I'm not going to test it there. I'm going to test it on this one. Hey, quick interjection here. If you guys are enjoying the video, it'd be greatly appreciated if you leave a like and or subscribe, or even comment. Advice, feedback, questions, I would love to see it all. All right, let's get back into the video. So, I'm actually going to use one port, actually, for right now. So I guess we could try A82, right? We grab a storage bus. We grab a sink. And put this guy here, grab a controller. We're just going to create like a whole independent system here. And also, yes, I made a whole independent power for this area that's actually under the fission stuff. So that's why that's there, by the way. Why it's yellow, not the normal color. All right, and then import. And water. Do this. There we go. And then acceleration cards. And extract only. And this is actually not this, right? This is an export bus. Export out of the system. My bad. Let's try that again. Let's go to water. Man, the rate on that's awful too. Let's move this here real quick. I'm curious. I think this might be because the port is actually not got that much of like an input. It needs to be faster. Like it needs to have multiple to do this. So let's try 3 of these guys. Let's grab some export buses. Probably a little bit more than I needed. I probably should have just done 2, but that's okay. Seems like to me that this is not the fastest. I was thinking maybe this might be faster, but this does not appear to be faster. So I guess technically you could do it this way. You could do it that way. I don't think this way is faster. So I'm going to knock this out, replace it with the other way, and I'll get that done. And then we'll be back once I start working on the redstone ports and everything of that sort. All right, let's work on the redstone logic for this reactor. So I'm going to set these guys down here. Basically, what we want to have happen, and this is kind of me just going off of myself. There's plenty of other guides out there, but I want to see about insufficient fuel and let's see, probably high temperature. Let's work with tiny redstone. This stuff should not be that complicated. So what I want to do is I want to make an AND gate. I don't know if this thing's actually centerable. So we're just going to kind of send it, right? How many blocks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8, right? That's what I just put down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Okay. So 8. Oop, I did not want to do that. I want to do this. So if you shift and then smack it, it'll actually let you remove all blocks, which is beautiful. So I've got a comparator here. I think that's what I want. I think. Actually, no. I don't want that there. I want that. Okay, I just gotta smack it. I keep forgetting. So I think I want that there, actually. That there, that there, that there. This. Right-clicked on. And then the inputs for this would be this way. Man, I don't know if I really like this tiny redstone mod. Definitely not the one I've used in the past, that's for sure. If we do this, would this make things easier for us? Maybe. So there. And then we could clean this up by removing these guys. And then the same thing here. And so now if I did a redstone signal lever. So if I did lever here and lever here. I guess technically I do need to put like a redstone signal at the end of this, don't I? Yeah, so redstone. Oop, I did not mean to do that. That. Oop. Gonna let me. Go. I was punching it instead of right-clicking. And then this. Okay. And then now, so that should output, and we can grab a lamp. Okay. A very simple AND gate. I just had to make sure I was doing it right, because yeah, this being off-center is throwing me off for a loop. I tried to do it off camera, and I was like, man, this is really confusing. I don't like tiny redstone. I don't like the fact that it's off-center. I don't know if they could even ever fix that, but that bugs me. Okay. So let's pick this guy up. Let's put that here. Can we rotate this by perchance? We can. Okay. And then I want to grab laser IO and a handful of redstone cards. Actually, I guess I need one more of these, right? Because I'm going to do laser node, laser node, laser node, laser node, and south, this, extract, there we go, output, whatever you want to call it. And that's east, not south. Same thing here, east, output, strong. But I want this to be activated now, don't I? Like an inverted one? I don't know. We will give it a second. So let's do this here, this here, and then can I just do inverted? Inverted. Nope, that did not work. So that does not function. You know why? Because I did that wrong. Hold on. This is supposed to be input. My bad. I always mess that up for some reason. Well, this one's supposed to be output strong, and this one is supposed to be output strong. I don't know why I do that. I've done that since the Redstone card, since Laser IO's come out, in all honesty. That should be working. Well, no, not really, because there is enough fuel and the temperature's low enough. It doesn't seem like this is actually working that well for some reason. But let's just activate. And there is no way for us to muffle the fission reactor, by the way. Besides going into here. Turning that down. Okay, so one of the things we are producing, nuclear waste, which we actually do need to deal with before we kind of full send this. I was just kind of activating it to see what's happening. But I think this should technically work. I have no proof because, of course, we haven't been able to fully test it. I'm going to turn this to normal. And this to normal. And, of course, we'll watch this once we get higher up with the burn rate. Because right now we're on 0.1, so this is not going to be that big of a deal. But we actually are going to scram this for now. Because we do need to deal with the nuclear waste. Which means that we need some ports. So I'm going to put this here. And we're going to turn this to output waste. So remember, the reason we built 3 is because one's going to be polonium pellets, one's going to be plutonium pellets, and the other one's going to be polonium fluid, or chemical. How are we going to transmit the chemicals? Do we have applied mechanists in here? Okay, so we do have applied mechanist. Mechanistics, not mechanics, whatever. I thought it was applied mechanics, honestly. So we do have this. So if we were to get the quantum ring set up for this dimension, we could send this over. Except for I don't think we have the radioactive cells, do we? Radioactive. We do from mega cells. We don't have it from that mod. We have it from another. But this only uses 256, which is not bad because we're going to then go send it into a radioactive nuclear, waste barrel. But we will need to get into all of this, which means the accumulation processors and the inscriber accumulation processor. Okay, I will do that shortly. But for now, let's process this stuff. So, nuclear waste. I can't press 3 on it. Nuclear waste is going to go... Ooh, what is this? A nuclear furnace and a nuclear bomb from Enlightened, huh? Okay. So isotopic centrifuge for plutonium and solar neutron activator for polonium. Let's go plutonium for this one. Might as well. And let's actually bookmark that. Polonium. Isotopic centrifuge. Just clear out some of this stuff here real quick. Okay, isotopic centrifuge. And then a pressurized reaction chamber with fluorite dust and water. That's not going to be a problem. And then spent nuclear waste can actually be used. So it goes from 2,000 to 500 nuclear waste, and then that can be recycled back and forth. Okay, so isotopic centrifuges are first. So let's just grab 4 of these guys. And we're also going to want a flux point. And we will just place these guys right here. Perfect. And we will just run cable. Configurator, perfect. Okay. And then those are powered. Let's actually grab the upgrades before we kickstart this off anyway. I'm actually kind of enjoying the muffle upgrades. Like, I don't have to go into the whole menu and just mute everything, right? I think it's honestly a little bit better, in my opinion, the way we're doing it right now. So I might continue doing this in other series where we muffle all this stuff. All right, and then we just need some tubes. Of course, once radioactive the nuclear waste comes out, it is radioactive. If you break one of these pipes, even if you wrench one of these pipes, it's going to radiate the entire area for quite a long time. So be careful. Okay? So that should be golden. Let's make sure that these guys are inputting on the front, not outputting. Same thing here, input. Man, this dimension rains a lot. Okay. But that should be inputting. And that should make plutonium. And then we are just going to grab some pressurized tubes on the backside here. And also, I do believe plutonium and polonium are also radioactive, hence why they can go into the radioactive waste barrel. So you do not want to risk that. So let's actually quickly, while we're here, just make a radioactive waste barrel. As like a storage point. Because you cannot put this in a normal chemical tank. So that there. Oh, can we only do the top? I forget. Top or bottom? Okay. So then on the back is output. On the back is output. On the back is output. And guess what? On the back is output. And then here, of course, is input. So this will not actually degrade inside of a radioactive waste barrel, by the way. I do believe it says that somewhere, but maybe not in this version. Not 100% sure. Let's see. Yeah, will not decay inside of radioactive waste barrels. Of course, nuclear waste and spent nuclear waste will, but this will not. So this is just a storage point at that point. Okay. And then we now need the pressurized reaction chamber. So reaction chamber. So we need one of these guys. Let's just grab 2 of these guys, actually, whenever we get to that point. So 2 of these guys. And then, of course, we're going to have to pipe out of the bottom of this. And we'll just do up. Here we go. And let's make sure that this is just turned off preemptively before we place these machines down. Okay. And then we'll just grab 2 points. Instead of running cables. We've got the ability. Okay. And then a sink. The mechanical pipes. We'll extract, insert. Extract, insert. There we go. So that should take care of the water problem. And then we do have plutonium in here. It's kind of first come, first served for both of these machines. And I'm going to reactivate this. I'm going to actually turn the burn rate up to 15 and see how we hold. Okay, so we are not holding with the water. So let's go 5. And we're also probably building steam, by the way, which is another thing that we haven't dealt with. But yeah, we are not doing enough for the water. Okay, so let's scram that for right now. But that should start getting us a little bit of plutonium. And of course, we need 1,000 per pellet. And we also need fluorite dust, so we'll get a hold of that here in a second. So, how do we go about the water solution? Probably add more. If you guys know of a more optimal way for water delivery, please do let me know down in the comments, because I've never really known how to fully do this as great as some of the other people on here, and I've looked into it a lot, but I just haven't ever been really able to find anything that like suffices, I would say. That does not. Is it because it's a tube? Probably. Let's grab the ultimate trash can. We need an energy trash can and an ultimate. Let's put this in here so we actually can EMC these. And the tubes. Okay, so let's reactivate. We are still on 5 millibuckets a tick. How are the pipes doing up here? So this one's completely empty. So if I were to join these guys... Actually, that kind of equalizes. Interesting. Okay. So we're going. So if I say 10... Okay, we start to drop a lot of water. So 8... Still dropping quite a bit of water. So if I go back down towards 6... Okay, so right now we can handle about 6. Maybe 6.5. Okay, 6 is it. Alright, so I still need to figure out the water. I might just add more ports. I don't really think that's the best method. I think there's got to be something I'm missing. And I know with this just being such a big reactor, that's one of the natural problems, right? Is filling this thing with coolant. Let's go down here real quick. How are we doing with fissile fuel? Oh, so we're not really noticing too much of a dip? Okay. Perfect. We'll notice it once we are able to stabilize these guys, most likely. Okay. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I will be right back. I'm going to add just a whole bunch more ports and sinks and see if we can get this thing higher. I think that's kind of usually what I do, is just shove a whole bunch of ports and see if we can stabilize this enough to be useful. So I will be back here in a little bit. So right now we are at 20 millibuckets a tick. I've got quite a bit of sinkage up here, and I'm going to actually try 25. Let's see where this goes. So we're losing one more sink spot. We're kind of losing a little bit there. I think adding these extra pieces here is actually helping quite a bit, because I actually had them originally where it was just the 9 and 1, and it was actually not enough to do even 10. So I think we just need to do that, and I think we'll do that on all of these. Once we figure out a good way to do this, we're going to do it on all of them anyway. It's just, we're testing with this one. So let's say 35. Let's shoot higher. Okay. So we are losing water. So let's go down to 30. Okay. So we're gaining. So let's go 32. Okay, we're still gaining. So let's shoot 34. Okay, so we're losing. So 33. 33 the sweet spot. 33 is not the sweet spot, so 32 is the sweet spot. Okay. Which, I'm just going to keep doing this. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until I know that we have a solid amount of water, because I basically want to get this to about 50. Is usually my goal. I don't know if we'll be able to do it with the water cooled, of course, because I didn't do sodium cooled like I did in Craftoria, where we were able to do a lot of plutonium and polonium production. This is just me trying to get out of doing more mechanism, basically. Because I don't think salt is EMCable, right? Oh, salt is EMCable. We could have technically done... No, because this doesn't turn into sodium right away, right? You'd have to go through this. Right? Where's... Oh, I guess you could just do gaseous brine to sodium. 10 millibuckets to 1. I guess technically we could have sodium cooled these. That wouldn't have been too bad. But no turning back now. Alright, I'm going to scram this. I'm going to get more ports. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.